okay there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What are you looking at?
Just reading an article here.
About what?
Just about something from work.
Are you upset or something?
No, I'm fine.
You are upset.
I'm not upset. Everything's fine, Leonard.
So why are you so quiet?
When everything's fine, I'm just reading.
I just want to talk to you.
So I'm here, we're talking.
But, well, I can't just talk. You need to talk as well. You need to tell me how you're feeling, because I can clearly see you are upset with something.
No, I'm not upset, Leonard. I don't have to tell you how I feel, because I'm not upset. Everything's fine, okay?
Was that your sister?
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, I don't have a sister. Today,
That was the best thing I could come up with.
Today we are talking about why is it that when a man needs to talk about important things in the relationship, whether it's feelings, whether it's the 5-year plan, he turns a little bit into a caveman and he can't speak. He doesn't have anything to say.
And as you could see, it doesn't work. I have a feeling, actually, I don't have a feeling, I've seen it before, that if I would try, to get something like from him, we would end into an argument, basically.
we would have a problem, as we have had before.
Yes,
as we used to have
times.
in the beginning.
Yes.
So today, this is what we are talking about, right? As this happened to you, as this happened in a previous relationship, in your current relationship, are you a man that you don't know what to talk about when you are having that sort of important conversation? Are you the lady and you try like with a can opener to see what's inside your man, but he doesn't really talk? Today we're going to be speaking about that. Actually, we recorded a very funny sketch with a caveman, and I want you to see how that went.
Wait to see that.
And we'll be right back.
Why is it that with men, they can talk about anything, from football to tennis, from friends to work, you name it. But when they have to talk about relationships, their communication skills become that of a caveman. Where do you see our relationship going in 5 years? When are we getting married? How do you feel about our relationship?
Woman!
Should we open a joint savings account?
So you saw there what happens when serious questions are asked, right? And once in a while, you need to have a serious chat about where the relationship is going, what the plan is, right? Do women like to talk about that?
Of course we do, of course.
Too much, maybe?
No, not to us. We like to plan things. We like to know where we're going and what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But, we are by no means insulting men, okay? I think it's fair to... But that sketch was quite funny.
Mm-hmm. Very funny. And, the thing about men and women and feelings and talking about feelings is that women, they want to talk about feelings, because when a man says, I love you, or I'm committed to you, she feels secure. She feels like...
And the thing is, James, we don't only like to talk about feelings. We don't just talk about, we like to talk about everything. We like to talk about if we are married, where we're going to live in 10 years' time, what are we doing, what are your career plans, things like that. It brings security to us. So it's not just, because I know I was watching some videos on YouTube of these people, so a few people who did some videos on that topic, and all they could say was that women like to talk about feelings. We like to talk about everything.
Yeah, and men like to talk, but they like to talk usually about things that sometimes are not that important for the relationship and for the partner. Basically, anything that is serious to do with the relationship, we tend not to talk so much about it. But the thing is, it's not that we don't think it's important, but women like to talk about their feelings. Men usually show their feelings.
So I have a question for you then.
Go ahead. Let's see how that goes. Go ahead.
Why then, when you look upset in real life, I ask you, how are you? What's wrong with you? And you're like...
Just like we did at the beginning of the show, right?
Why can't you just say, listen, I'm upset because of this. That's it. That will keep me happy. That will just...
Because the thing is, when we are upset about something at work or something, anything, we don't want to talk about that.
Why?
We want to talk about everything apart from that. Because at that moment, we either don't want to deal with the problem, or if we talk about it, it's not going to solve the problem. And it may be wrong. It's important that you share the problems you have with your partner. Because if you don't share it with your partner, who are you going to share it with? However, the problem is, my dear.
Tell me, I want to hear, and everyone else at home, why don't you talk?
For us, we do talk, but about those things, sometimes it doesn't come naturally to us, and we have to force ourselves to do it. So usually when we are, there's a problem, we don't really want to talk about it.
Okay, so I have another question, because today is my turn to ask questions.
By the way, let's show everyone our Mr. and Mrs. mug.
Don't run away from my question, though. What I want to ask you is this, because I've advised many ladies, married ladies. One of them in particular said to me, what do I do? My husband, he's so laid back, he's so, take it easy, things will fall into place. They've recently gotten married, and she wants to know what to do with this and that, the mortgage, what do we do now? Do we save? But he won't do anything. He would just, every time he comes from work, and it's been like a while, it's just, we'll see.
The other thing is that in our mind, we know what we're going to do, right? But we don't tend to discuss it. So if you're talking about a mortgage, if you're asking about a mortgage, if you're asking where we're going to live next year, in our mind, we've planned all this stuff up. It's there.
Are you sure?
Yeah, usually that's how it works.
Doesn't look like it.
But we usually don't share it.
Okay.
We don't go and say, let's talk about where we're going to live next year. Let's talk about our mortgage, how we can save money here or there. Usually we have made a decision. It's there in our mind. It's there, but we don't talk about it. And that's a mistake, because, that's the sort of stuff that you need to discuss.
Of course, and this is why many couples have problems.
Let's talk about, Elena, about the fact that sometimes the guy has this thing, and yes, he should be talking, but sometimes the lady, the girl, the wife, girlfriend, fiance is so pushy that makes him retract.
Well, I was actually going to save some of these for later, but since you've started talking about it, I've come to the conclusion, that we can't change people. I can't change my husband, but what we can do is we can meet halfway, and it always works for us. So I'm sure, if you take on this advice, it will help you too. So just erase that idea from your mind that you will change your husband, your partner. This is how they are. And indeed, sometimes I don't do this anymore. Sometimes I do, but not as often as before. I don't insist to the point that he gets really upset. Sometimes he's not even upset, but he looks upset. So I'm like, what happened to you? Why do you have that face? What's going on? Nothing.
And the answer
Nothing happened.
The answer is always, I'm fine, everything's fine. And sometimes you're saying it's fine, but it's not fine, but you don't want to talk about the problem.
So I've come to that conclusion that
insisting doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And the thing is, you were saying something very true, is that you cannot change that person. You cannot make the man to, some men find it easier to talk about their feelings and about problems. Others prefer not to, because for a man, this is very important, very, very important. For a man to go and share a problem with you, with the wife or the girlfriend, and say, look, it's not going well, what do you think I should do? He feels less of a man.
Okay.
Because as a man, he should have the answers. He should know the solution. He should know how to fix a problem. So him going to her and saying, listen, I don't really know what to do, it's not going very well, or he feels like he's not fulfilling his role as a leader and as a man.
Okay.
And that is a problem. So don't be surprised if that's how he behaves. Understand it and try to help him. Try to help him in making him feel like a man, as a leader, because that's how he is. And just before we go to the break, Len, I was reading something very interesting. Someone asked the following question: why can't men talk about their feelings like we do? A woman asked. And the man said, because there can only be one drama queen in the relationship.
I have to agree with that one.
And that's, you know, that may be an exaggeration. It may be, some people say, oh, that's, you know, that's tarnishing women with a bad brush. True. But, you know, I think we can take that to say that men and women cannot be exactly the same because we're different, right? When we come back, you're going to see what the people in the streets of London have to say about this. Why do men not talk about feelings, about things that are important in the relationship? Why do they shy away from that? Let's see what people think. We've told you what we think. We're going to see now what the people in the streets of London think. We'll be right back.
How easy is it for you to talk about deep things, you know, problems and things like that with your partner?
No problem at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me ask the lady now. How easy, let's say you have there's something that you need to talk about that you've been trying to, you know, maybe this is not the right time, next week when it's a little bit more calm. Does that happen?
No, normally we do it at once, so you get finished with it. Yeah.
That's good. Was it always like that, or did you learn to be more, you know, to communicate more?
When you're young, okay, you're a bit more shy than we are today, but today it's no problem. But how many years it's before it started like that? 5, 10 years, I don't know.
Suppose we just get on with life, you know, just get on with life and take every day as it comes.
Okay,
yeah.
So you don't force him to speak?
No. I don't force him to do anything. No.
Some couples, they get angry because their men, they don't talk. They just don't talk about anything. Does that happen to you?
No, we do talk. Yes, we do talk, yes, about things, yes.
If you feel...
I don't force him to do what he doesn't want to do or talk or whatever, yeah.
And what's your secret? You've been married for so long. Tell us, give us a tip or two.
There's no such secret. I think it's luck and patience and, you know, a lot of patience and sort of, you know, you're not on each other's back all the time, sort of give each other space. You need to have space, your own space. Yeah.
Do you find it hard to talk about your feelings or anything that's really difficult to talk about with your partner?
Not really.
So are you really the kind that is really open?
Yeah, I'm really blunt, usually.
Oh, that's a very rare...
I think all men are pretty simple. Women just misunderstand them. You just need to understand how we work. We're pretty simple. We're not that complicated. Women are complicated.
I like that. Okay, so from your point of view as a man, you guys are simple, and all we need to do is to understand how you work. Yeah. Okay, but are you aware that usually women think that their partners, they don't really like to talk about how they feel or what happened to them or whatever? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
What do you think of that?
That's what I said. Women need to understand men better. I mean, if we get time to hang out with our guys and have a few beers and watch a few games, and if you let us that much time, then we'll be happy to give it back to you in like maybe a romantic dinner or something like that. So it's pretty simple. You give us some, you get some.
I think it depends really what the issue is. Sometimes if it's a bit of a mega issue, then they probably would be thinking about it much more than I would, because I just talk, I'll talk everything out, and he's a bit more considered than I am. So there's that sort of bit of gap between us, but it's not a problem because it kind of works, really.
You've been together for how long?
Oh, forever.
Oh, wonderful. So would you say that communication is very important, because you say, you know, you don't really mind, but...
I could say anything to him, absolutely anything, and he could say anything to me.
That's wonderful. What about you?
No, I'm in quite a new relationship, and I do think men do sometimes hide their feelings. They want to say something, and they perhaps beat all around the bush before they actually say it.
Welcome back. It's very interesting to see what the people in the street of London have to say about this, because it seems to be something where people have different opinions, right? Some people are very adamant that men have to change, that they have to talk
Especially
more.
women.
Usually it's women that say that, right?
They have to change. I'm not happy with that.
And some women do understand that men are different. We're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But someone was saying, I read something very interesting, that a guy said, look, men don't talk about their feelings and about these important things because they get their emotions out in a different way. Football, if they're angry, they kick the ball. If they love their partners, they kiss them but don't say much. So it's like, it seems to be more actions than words.
Okay.
Is that, do women find that actions are enough?
It depends on the actions, really. As I was saying to you earlier, we do talk. Well, actually, I do a lot of one-to-one with ladies for advice sessions, and many of them say they don't do enough. They may be caring, they may be patient, very nice husbands or partners, but when it comes to taking decisions, talking about things that really, really matter. When I say really matter, it depends on the person. Sometimes it might not matter to you, but to some women, house things, children, all these things matter, and they actually don't do that.
It's very interesting what you said, because a lot of times we don't talk about these things because to us, honestly, it doesn't matter. Honestly.
But how is that possible?
But in our minds, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But we know that it does matter. It's very important. And actually, if it's important for you, the wife, the girlfriend, then it's important to us, because if we pay attention to that, you're going to be happier, we're going to be happier. But in our minds, those things are not important, are not priority. And we need to understand that your priorities are also our priorities. Now, I want you to tell people at home a little bit about...
It depends on what it is. Tell me, what you want me to say?
I want you to tell them a little bit about our date, when we used to date in the beginning, because I used to talk a lot, right?
No. As you can see, he's also a man, and he doesn't talk much either. So when we used to go on dates, we would go out for lunch. Gosh, I can't even speak now. And throughout the whole lunch, there was silence. And then I would be like, looking at my chips, looking at my whatever I was eating, and looking around, looking at the decoration. And then like, so what's going on with you? What do you have to tell me? I literally had to ask him, do you have anything to tell me? Is there anything you want to talk about? Because we're on a date.
And actually, we already knew each other for a while. It's not like she was digging.
No, he wasn't shy or anything.
Yeah.
It's just that...
It's not like you were digging to get to know me, because you knew me already quite well. But it's just, we would go on dates, and sometimes, because I didn't have anything special to say, then I would just...
Sounds sad, doesn't it? It really sounds sad.
But actually,
anyway...
Yeah, today it's not like this anymore, because I understood that sometimes I'm thinking about something, and actually I should externalize my thoughts.
Exactly, and I'm glad I did not give up. Likewise, you at home, if your partner or your husband is a very quiet
and doesn't
kind of man,
and doesn't externalize as much.
Yeah, because there are exceptions. Huh? There are men who like to go shopping, talk about feelings, and all this kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your husband or partner or boyfriend is that kind, that is very quiet, doesn't even have anything to say, believe me, if they don't say anything, it's because there's nothing going on, like in the thought.
That's very harsh. There is always something going on.
No, but you know what I mean? Because sometimes I would ask you, James, why don't you talk about something then? And he was like, I don't know, there's nothing, nothing to talk about. So there's nothing going on there.
There is always something going on. It's very harsh to say.
So tell us about that.
It's very harsh to say that there's nothing going on. There's always something going on. But sometimes you're thinking about something which you feel is not important to talk about. Sometimes you don't, but you need to. Now,
yes,
what I wanted to talk about as well is that a lot of people see, and this is very important. We've had a little bit of a laugh, but what I want to talk about now is really important, because a lot of people think that this part of a man is a flaw, is a mistake. It's something that needs to be corrected. It's like a defect. It's like a defect of fabrication. It's like a man was made, and this is something wrong that you need to correct. And that is wrong. Also, like saying that a woman being more in touch with her emotions, or crying easier, being more prone to crying than a man, it's a mistake, it's a defect. It's not a defect. That's how she is. But in the same way, Ellen, I think a lot of people think this is a serious problem. This is something that is very bad. And actually, what do you think about that?
I think, on a more serious note, like you said, I recently, because I can only speak for myself or cases that we deal with, there was this woman who was, like married for a few years, a couple of years, something like that. And she came to us on the therapy sessions and saying, listen, I even gave him the ring back and I said, listen, if you don't change, I can't do this marriage thing anymore because you don't talk, you don't, she actually went on to say, you are boring. And I told her, this is what I've come to realize over the years. It's not that they are boring, it's how they are. And you can actually get him to do a lot and say what you want to hear or deal with things in the house, within his quietness. If I can say so. I was even telling the lady, when he's watching, what does he like to do? Oh, he likes to watch movies a lot, when he likes to unwind and stuff. So sit by his side and, enjoy the silence. And you will see that he will start like,
and
she's not saying...
Just, he may not be saying something because he's, like you said, watching something or reading a book or whatever.
Well, there's nothing to say, you said.
And you just being there, that becomes a very special moment for both of you. And I just wanted to say that, for example, you were saying that sometimes there's nothing going on. And for a man,
you know what I mean.
For a man, there's always something going on. The thing is that sometimes we don't talk about things that are important to you because in our mind they may not be important, but they are. And just so that in the same way, sometimes there's something on our mind that we're not talking about that, they may not seem important to you, but they are important to us. And for a man, just like for a woman, for most women to talk about their problems and with their friends about their problems, and it relaxes them, it's important. For a man, it's the opposite. For a man, usually being quiet, silent, being in his corner, it relaxes him. I was actually talking to a young man recently, and we were discussing, talking about something very important in relationships, but you kind of feel awkward talking about that with another man. And sometimes we men are not good at talking about these things. Should we improve? Absolutely, right? But remember, your man, husband, a boyfriend, fiance, he doesn't have a defect. Listen, he's not broken. You don't need to send him back to the factory to get that fixed. That's how different we are. And there's always room for improvement, but don't worry because he still functions well, he's not broken.
And in some cases, for example, in our case, it was good for me because I talk quite a lot and it brought a very nice balance.
That's right.
To me, and I'm very happy with that because, you learn to appreciate people, not just for what they say, but,
That's right. Unfortunately, our time just whizzed by. And I want you to remember something from this program. Although we had some funny moments here, funny sketch of the caveman there, remember something. There is no one in that relationship, man, woman, that is broken. There's nothing to fix there. You can't go and return him back to the store and say, listen, this one is broken, right?
Oh, there's something wrong with him.
Something wrong with him. Fix him up and I'll come back in a week to pick him up. You can't do that because we are different. And understand that about your partner. If you're a man, understand that your partner needs you to talk a little bit more. And if there is this encouragement from both to improve in these things, the relationship always gets better. Okay, it's been a pleasure to have you here with us. Until next time, have a wonderful evening.